are to break down your early towers. You have
such a phenomenal high ground defense with Winter Wyvern long range, Winter
Awkward with the
cogs and getting a nice isolation set up. 4 people like blasted.
I like the response here from mYi. They're like, you go late game, we're going to match you there with AM, who's all very, very good.
Against your squad.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think I go with a Battle Fury carrier here of some sort, just so they have some AoE to try and cleave down these illusions. And AM certainly fits the bill on that front, but is a slightly different play style here. And we'll see if mYi can make enough space for this anti-mage to really shine.
All right. Well, with that, Andrew, before we let you go, do you have a favorite for the game, for the series?
I like this PR draft, man. This is just sort of, as you mentioned, it's just very well-rounded. They've got a great initiator in the Clockwork, great follow-up initiation with the Storm, solid lanes. I think this PL will have a pretty good time in the laning stage. At least be able to get that core kit going on, and that's always a little bit scary.
All right, PR fan confirmed. With that, let's see if Megazord's got what it takes. So we'll introduce PR here. We've got Cheshire Cat playing the Clockwork off lane. Going mid will be Sunlight Dota on the Storm. It'll be Diyara on the Phantom Lancer. We saw his Bloodseeker the other day. It was pretty impressive. Kind of harkened back to the Slark that he's had a lot of success on historically. Goritz will be playing your Keeper of the Light. And then rounding things out will be J4 on the Winter Wyvern. I do want to highlight once again, PR went for the level 1 insta TP bottom to get that ward up. So Cheshire Cat setting himself up for a pretty good time in the off lane, and they will miss on that first D ward, Dakota. Actually, they miss on both.
Yeah, very unfortunate right there. And Warrior Radiant side, it is going to be a team that's been off the radar for a little bit, but trying to get back in the action. It's the mYinsanity group starting up here at the top. We got Mitch. He's going to be playing your Bruiser Spirit Breaker. Along the bottom, we got Grazine and her support Vengeful Spirit. Gogi is going to be playing your Wind Ranger. We got Lizard, who's going to be playing your Visage. This guy is a machine with his micro work. Plays a lot of Meepo, and well, we've seen a lot of Visage already in this tournament. And last but not least, we got Milan. He's going to be playing your anti-mage. So they have a nice little trifecta lane here. They have their zoning potential with both the Visage and the Vengeful Spirit. I'm sure one will take the reins of pulling the lane back. They did a nice job already blocking out the ranged creep, as you can see. Visage wants to make sure they can still kind of, you know, see if they can prevent and get the rest of the creeps forward, but because of the big cog block coming up from Cheshire Cat, that's not going to be possible. Just a sweet perk for, you know, being a Clockwork after all. Gets that creeps right under the tower, and he's going to get a nice early boost of XP.
Yeah, so we'll see Cheshire Cat getting a lot of early experience here. Generally what you expect for the offlane clock. I think the only time I've really seen it denied is if you manage to just sneak through and eat the tree. I've seen a Bat Rider do it once or twice historically, where they just like Firefly over here, blow up the trees, and then you can't really cog in the creeps, but that is not a hero we see very often nowadays, and it's pretty risky to walk in with almost any other hero. So as a result, off to a good start. Meanwhile, top lane Mitch not having the best of times, getting zoned out rather heavily with the Arctic Burn getting deployed, and well, he went for the early Orb of Venom, but I gotta tell you, Dakota, I don't think he's going to be auto-attacking much in this lane against the 3 heroes of PR.
No, certainly not. You got that nasty long range of the Arctic Bird coming up from J4 already. PR has been on their ward game. At the start, they get that bottom D ward, and then top, they remove out that side ward. But mid lane, they get the early gank coming in onto Sunlight. Grazine lays in with an early magic missile, and it's going to pay off, but it will cost his own life. He's happy, though, to make that sacrifice because this is a big boost overall for Gogi on the Wind Ranger.
While that was happening, Mitch took a bit of damage, but he's able to charge towards the top rune, and Coddle not about to contest that one. So a hasted cow on the prowl, but doesn't really have much mana to work with. He's quite low in that department. In the meanwhile, look at Cheshire Cat bottom, does Cog. But with the Cogs now down, they may be able to make it go. They're setting up a perimeter surrounding him. The Venge stun, another rotation from Grazine, and another kill going the way of mYi. Make it 2-1 around the map. Looking at the farm real quickly, they are about even, I'd say slightly ahead. We're not seeing the offlaners get any sort of creeps right now, and meanwhile the anti-mage and PL relatively even, as are the Wind Ranger and Storm mid. So farm being even, a slight lead here early on for mYi.
Oop, charge on mid lane. Here comes the linebacker. Mitch gets the good connection on the Sunlight. They lay in with a nice shackle, and now that Orb of Venom looking to pay off a bit. And look at the snipe even coming in. The heavy mobile Grazine even still getting a part of the action. But it is going to be Mitch who picks up the kill. I'm sure he's super happy about that because he had been muscled quite a bit in his off lane. In fact, he doesn't even seem like he wants to go back to that terrible place.
Ideally, this is that stage of the game where you'd like to see a TP on J4 just so he could cold embrace defensively, but he only just hit level 2. It's a bit slow to get it with the Spirit Breaker causing so much havoc in the offlane. Speaking of which, now charges bottom, a pile driving range of action here from mYi. They're going to find their 4th kill. Man, these guys are active. They just keep on moving around. I don't think I've seen anyone really laning aside from Wind Ranger and Anti-Mage. Everyone else is just roaming.
Yeah, and it's interesting. I mean, that's the 2nd time straight now we've seen Cheshire Cat pretty far forward, and you know, it's credit to mYi, especially like, you know, the way Grazine's been playing it. He's been off the radar, in the dark the whole time, so he keeps PR kind of guessing if he's going to be showing up mid lane trying to gank the storm, or back on bottom to zone back the clockwork. But you know, maybe it's just PR not giving enough respect to that. Not playing as defensive as they should. You know, with so many missing, you might not want to, you know, stretch your leash too far out from that safety net of a tower.
Well, Dakota, you are certainly a keeper of the light player. Let me ask you, how much of a dream is this jungle start so far? Not seeing any mud golems. He's been able to get at least a double stack in every camp, a triple in a couple. Are there any quads here? Actually, no. It looks like they're triples right now. This is pretty much the dream for a keeper of the light early on.
Yeah, you know, unfortunately he doesn't get to use it for himself. Keep it light, typically a very selfless play style, which I do obviously enjoy. But the nice thing is he can jungle and farm pretty damn easy. You stack one camp and you can blast very quickly from afar and catch another camp, and it's that much easier even on the dire side. So Storm, thanking his lucky stars, he's going to be able to farm up all that jungle stacks, and that means Goritz gets to work with the solo XP in the mid lane, because he needs to also get himself a little bit of extra time. You know, you want to get everything. Mana Leak's even good early on, but you got to get the essentials. You got to get the Chakra Magic, you got to have a good blast, and eventually you got to get that Spirit Form.
And you can see just what a difference it makes. The Clockwork, sure, he's been dying, but he's still getting his experience in the offlane. Almost level 5 now, and then you throw in the X factor of being able to rotate your Storm into the jungle. Sunlight, leader in CS by quite a margin here, up to 43 CS, and leader in terms of gold. Sometimes you see a hero, you know, rack up these jungle creeps. Uh-oh, Shackle shot mid. This could be trouble for Goritz. Out comes the focus fire. They could not get in range for a stun from Grazine, so no kill there in the end. A power shot flies through, but unable to get the job done. And yeah, the experience lead for PR, it's gigantic. 2,000, even after giving up 4 kills early.
They found Mitch. Mitch was just kind of idling there on the cliffside, not even charging out, and he's just going to walk into a facial of a blast coming out from Goritz. All right, that made it almost look too simple. Mitch just kind of caught the wrong place at the wrong time. He really hasn't found a home for himself ever since being bullied out of that off lane, so hopefully looks to get back into the grind. We could see him even charge out from base to get back into the action here, but you know, this PL still continues to find a lot of sweet farm for himself in the top lane.
Yeah, PL and AM both free farming, but the PL, decent lead here, 8 CS up or so, and looks like the lanes are relatively even in terms of the number of creeps available to be farmed up right now. So it is a moderate lead for him. I think the big thing for me is just that PR are being allowed to play greedy Dota. They're up against the Spirit Breaker. Nobody out, and Avenge, who's a pretty good roaming hero, and yet nobody's been able to contest this jungle. They haven't warded it off. Sunlight has just been jungling for 2 to 3 minutes now. J4 getting his own pulling and stacking going as well, now using a bit of Splinter Blast to farm this up. They're getting too much off the map. mYi really need to put a stop to this, and so far just haven't found their openings. They might try to get Goritz, so I got a little greedy. Coddle with his hand in the cookie jar, and well, Milan says, "Get the hell away, you lecherous old fool." And he'll go back to the grave.
You can get away with blasting from far away and trying to inch forward for being just on the cusp of that XP range. But credit to mYi, they got that good lane ward. They see exactly how far he can creep in, and Lizard able to sneak in, gets off the good slow, and they punish the Coddle. You're right. Outside of that, it's been pretty much PR doing as they please. Still, Sunlight continues to just work with the jungle. He's almost like, you know, Empire's Yoku sometimes will play a jungling Storm Spirit, and he gets to come out from the woodwork with his level 6, and, you know, as long as they're able to kind of stay in the dark, mYi won't know what's coming. And they are, for now, camping up the top room. It's going to be a bounty. Gogi's going to slap that one up and run back towards the mid lane. Wind Ranger's been, I don't want to say relatively quiet, participating in these mid lane ganks quite a bit, but hasn't adventured anywhere. So still sporting level 8, early phase boots pickup. We'll see if Gogi likes to go down the road of quick Agnums and building the damage thereafter.
Yeah, once in a while we'll see that Maelstrom, but generally the Ags is the first pickup. Just gives you everything Wind Ranger needs. Stats, damage indirectly through the ability to just use the focus fire more often, and on top of that, it's got a nice scale to it. The Maelstrom's a little bit risky to go straight into, so like you said, probably the Ags right away, and then it's flexible. Once in a while you'll see a Force Staff. Maybe that's even an option here versus the clock, but, well, right as I say that, our question's been answered. Gogi gets the point booster, so he'll just go straight into some damage here.
I mean, a Maelstrom wouldn't be that bad either this game. At least maybe at some point. If you're going against the PL, you're going to need a way to break through those illusions. You know, outside of even just getting a Battle Fury on Milan, which, speaking of which, he has a Ring of Health currently and about 1k gold, so pretty good pace so far. And then once you get a hold of it, the farm really begins to accelerate. But hey, Sunlight has finally adventured out from the jungle and into the sun. And he's here in the bottom lane, but he's already getting harassed. Now, he does have Ball Lightning, and he's actually feeling confident now. He gets the Vortex pull onto AM, just some damage harassment to force him back and away. But now he's on pursuit. Because he forced back the AM, he might think he can make a go here on the Lizard. Big burst of damage, and he gets the follow-up, but oh, he eats the... Oh, the catch at the end comes out. Milan connects with a good Mana Void, and it's going to be a trade, one worthy mYi. Top lane, also, we have a bit of a trade, and it's going to be a drop of Mitch on the Spear Breaker, plus a Tier 1 fall.
Yeah, nice trade there, but in the end, PR, I think, still going to be happy, even though they lose their Storm. He managed to spend some of his gold, bought the Robe of the Magi, so I don't really think he lost any reliable gold, or if he did, it was a relatively moderate amount. If they lose this tower mid, though, maybe that changes, but Cheshire Cat has something to say about it. No hook shot, but at least can drive Gogi back a bit. Able to force that rotation out. They also get a lane ward down top as they retreat. So getting good control around the map, and it'll be interesting to see how this Storm AM matchup develops. Historically, a matchup that can really go either way. If the Storm gets ahead, great here to gank AM. You get the Orchid before the Battle Fury, and or rather before the Manta, and can really slow him down and consistently prevent him from free farming. But on the other side, Storm is potentially just a ticking time bomb if he uses all his mana, as we saw even with the level 1 Mana Void. It really hurts when you're out.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
And it looks like they're going to be bringing in Zine as well. They want some action to happen. That action is going to be going down to Sunlight. There's the charge connection. Can they lock him down enough? They can't.
Oh, he missed the stun.
Is there. But yeah, the second one, not to follow. He's going to Ball Lightning out for the Rumble rotation. That's going to be coming up short for mYi. Not so good. This is still continuation of farm for everyone else. J4, level 7 now, has his Winter's Curse. Doesn't need to use it quite yet, but has a TP on hand in case something is to break out elsewhere, which could happen possibly in mid lane. Cheshire Cat, hook shot, in the pocket, ready to go, hoping for a chance to catch maybe Gogi here.
Yeah, Radiant team does a vision of this, though. They've got a Hill Ward on their own side, and it just barely scouts out Cheshire Cat. It'll be tough to make that jump with that type of vision against you, but for now, just kind of deterring any sort of aggression as well towards his own Storm, so not totally wasted time. They will rotate the Keeper of the Light in, looking to prevent any sort of counter-pushing by Milan, who isn't really that close to the Battle Furies. He's got a... Or actually, no, he's got something on the Courier, doesn't he? Yeah, okay, just got the Claymore. So now he's actually pretty close, and just needs to complete the Broadsword here. PL keeping up, and generally you'll see the AM pull ahead a bit once he gets the Battle Fury, but I think it's close enough. The PR are fine with this. This AM is not really balling out of control. It could change, but for now, a pretty even game as far as that goes, and past the core, and slight lead here for PR. Now up to about 2,000 gold. and 3,500 experience. Another haster, and Sunlight apparently has S4 playing on his account, and now makes the jump in. Wizard trapped out, quickly dealt with one last jump. Very efficient mana usage there as well. But Milan will find the enemy courier. No items on it. Still a nice takedown, a bit of a prize for him. Is well, PR looking to expand their economy game. They're going to go into a Midas now for the Wyvern.
I guess they feel like he's already getting so much, kind of the same sense like an AA who finds one of those magical side lanes where no one really acknowledges for a while. You're just kind of sitting there and hoping everyone forgets about you. Well, he's got that kind of opportunity, enough so that he can build into this Midas. So Wyvern going to be able to level up and boost up his Winter's Curse pretty damn fast, and especially with that tier 1 taken down, he's got plenty of room to work with. But looks like he wants to take that pressure to the bottom lane. PR feeling like it's their chance. They're pushing for a tier 1, hoping to catch anyone on the move. They have that nice deep jungle ward. They can see there's attention nearby. Cheshire Cat going to be the first to move in. Pops the battery salt. He's looking to go into Grazine. Grazine sidestep, can't get off the stun. Now going to be put into the cage. Look at Gory, it's playing at the back. What a swap save. It's for himself. Dogi needs trying to run, but the Winter's Curse comes in. Oh no, Vengeful Spirit might have thrown her under the bus now, and that means that she will go down. Good zap back as they're able to get the return kill on the Cheshire Cat, but it's also going to cost them her Visage. So a 2-for-1 trade advantage for PR. They rotated everyone bottom for this. And it looks like it might pay off.
Stack Dota. We just saw the big either triple or quad stack cleared out here in the Radiant Woods, and now another one, but Storm finding the opening here, makes the move onto Mitch, doesn't have follow-up. He balls in, and now he's put under by the cold embrace of J4 and kept alive for now until they re-engage. They find Sunlight and slam, jam. Thank you, ma'am. They'll bring him down. Looking for a bit more here. Milan continues pursuit.
Okay, so they get the lance out, but they're actually focusing Ditya. Soul Sumption in. He has no more mana to work with. He is soon and ready to pop Cheshire Cat, trying to be the bodyguard. Steps in, get a nice cog, but they still manage to catch him. The Shackle's going to be there. Your PL will get dropped. Cheshire Cat, big damage from the Soul Sumption. Milan on pursuit wants to finish what they started. Power Shot going to be off the mark, however. So mYi not going to be able to finish that target, but enough to at least return the damage that was done previous. Very interesting. They do Cold Embrace on Storm Spirit to heal him up, but that means they kind of just stick him there and allow for some easy right clicks from the AM and some easy mana burn for the Mana Void.
Yeah, it was a really awkward location to be Cold Embrace, to be totally honest. As we'll see it ball in here from Sunlight, making the move on Gogi, has the wind run available, but he's silenced up. There's your Orchid reveal. Very nice timing here for Silent, or sorry, why did I say Silent? For Sunlight, Jesus. For Sunlight on the Storm, is he opted to skip the tread, so he's able to get it out a bit faster, despite dying a lot this game. He's 3-4, and he still has a sub 15-minute Orchid. That's a testament to how much he got out of the jungle, I think, more than anything. And with that, looks like they'll go for a tier 1 bottom, and this should be their second tower of the game, giving them a 1-tower lead.
Radiant structures are fortified.
Nice easy trade. Banjo into Wyvern. You see a tower auto attacking the creep. You Cold Embrace it. He'll keep that push that much longer. Mitch charging on forward. Thinks about going for the Nether Strike, but he is going to get shut down from that Orchid. So your Orchid debut, not going to come with a quick assassination. It's just going to be more to shut down your Spirit Breaker from engaging. But nonetheless, it's a tier 1 that's going to be dropped once again. This team continues to get a lot off the map, and now you're Coddle in Spirit form. Going to be relocating Sunlight to the top lane here. Looks like they want to add some attention towards this tier 2 if possible, because they're busy charging on in, going for Cheshire Cat. Needs him with the charge. There's going to be another missile, another strike to follow, and there's so much lockdown. This Clockwork has no option but to just sit there and take it.
Radiant structures
J4 able to TP himself out, and in the meanwhile, look who's pushing top. It's Ditya Ra on the Phantom Lancer. This tower taking heavy damage. Just PL with good agility in general. Quite a few items in this particular game, and doing work. Looks like they might even take a tier 2. That's well worth the death of the Clockwork. Won't even be contested. mYi just giving it away. It's one of the least important towers on the map, but it's still just, it's a free tier 2. There's really no trade, I would say, for that one. So I think for PR, they're pretty happy overall with this, and you know, even should it go late, they've got the Midas on the Wyvern, and they've got the PL, Coddle, and then finally the Storm. Plenty of options to try and take this. Making a move on Milan top lane. Sunlight does engage. However, there's the turn. The Mana Void a bit too cocky as he jumps in a bridge too far and ultimately will pay the ultimate price. That was a bit greedy.
He did that, and it didn't look like they had that lane ward anymore, so he just assumed, I guess, the AM was going to be at his low. Bottom lane, though, nice shackle on the Cheshire Cat, and they just rail in the arrows. He goes down. Back-to-back drops from Cheshire Cat. A bit unfortunate here. PR gets something like that precious tier 2 tower, holding up a lot of gold, and hell, even your Coddle. Just 2 components away from finishing out his Agnums, but then they get picked off and caught out a couple of times like that.
Middle tower is
You're allowing mYi to continue to get a lot and be right back into this game. So it's really hard to judge as far as who's coming out ahead. I would put a slight nod towards PR. Well, we'll have to see. If they continue to get caught out of position and make small flubs like that, mYi could just as easily back into this game.
Oh, Dityara doppelganger out in the nick of time as Mitch was thinking about a potential move forward, but then he gets Mana Burn, unable to get off the Nether Strike in the end, so the Diffusal Blade paying off there, and now Dityara will just continue farming this top lane. They've got 3 in the neighborhood, yet it does go back to the conversation we were having at the draft, which is that mYi do not have the best tools for handling a PL, just light on the AoE, aside from the AM, and Milan mostly interested in farming at this stage, and no easy, instant, reliable lockdown to deal with the hero. So, for now at least, he can farm and push about as aggressively as he wants. Dityara still more or less keeping pace with the enemy AM. Despite all the stacking, he's only 700 gold down, and he's actually leading by quite a big margin on CS.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Scouting out Sunlight here. Knows exactly where the PR movement is coming from. They don't have protection. They're just trying to get an easy tier 1 tower here. Maybe still charging in. Jumps over, gets another strike on a J4. There, Witcher Wyvern going to get bursted down after doing the curse. Big blast to fly out. Finishes off the AM, but look at the return. Gogi firing off all cylinders on the side, and they're going to quickly wipe out, but it's Corian's triple kill coming out for your Coddle of all people. But he might quickly hand over that bounty, and he will. Soul Substitution flies, but it's now Dityara's time. Charging in, gets the sweep. Now looking for Gogi. Gogi to be losing his mana. Now caught in the cogs right here. Cheshire Cat not looking to let him run away. Desperate pulls out the focus fire and a power shot, but it's not going to be enough to break the machine. And it's a double kill at the end for Dityara. Full 5-man wipe on the side of mYi. What a bloody disaster.
Radiant's top
8 heroes hitting the deck, only 2 managing to cling on to life here on Power Rangers, but they'll take it. They also get a great ward down here in the enemy jungle, and mYi, no detection currently, and may buy a couple of sentries, but there's no guarantee that you'll find that ward. They don't have a hero like Slark who can instantly let you know that there's a ward in the neighborhood. So this is a big fight for them on multiple fronts. And I'm wondering, did PR even try to make a move into Roshan? Maybe not right now, but if they find like one more pick, then I think they can go, especially if it's an important hero. You've got the Medallion, you have the Wyvern to help keep everybody alive in the pit, and you've got decent physical damage from the PL. So now the Manta comes out, and Dityara keeping up the farm, and in fact now almost 1,000 gold up on the AM. In fact, just about.
Yep,
they want this Roche, but the familiar is here.
They have to consider Roche as something that's in their top priority if they want to continue to hold the advantage they got. They've already rid of all these great access points. They hold a lot of the good points themselves. They hold the bottom tier ones still standing, but mYi obviously know they charge in for the Sunlight. They get the Nether Strike back, but he gets quickly saved from the Golden Embrace. They're looking to still move in. Milan trying to dish out the right click, but what a beautiful Winter's Curse coming out from J4. Helps lock him in place. First to go down is going to be Bruiser Spirit Breaker. Milan goes in and then goes down thereafter, getting bashed up. Sunlight is going to end up dropping. Lizard's going to be the follow-up. Dityara, the one who continues to thrive the most in these fights. Gogi, win run, moving in, getting up the right click. Doppelganger gets him out and away. Dityara still alive and well. Gorian's helping him out, and they get the kill on the Gogi. Could be almost a potential wipe once more for mYi, with the exception that Grazine is going to be the lone survivor to tell the tale. But even him, badly beaten and wounded. PR win back-to-back big team fights.
What a fun engagement there, and for PR, it's like you said, that Winter's Curse was that was massive, and also the clock hook was really important in that fight. Manages to just completely isolate the Wind Ranger, battery assaults, and then gets on top of her with the hook cogs, and even if you don't kill her right away, she's not doing anything. She's not auto-attacking too much. She's mostly running away. Threw out a shackle in the middle of it, but she's kind of got to be the big damage dealer. The AM's too frail. He just doesn't bring what a PL does at this stage. You've got only a Yasha Battle Fury, no HP items. He doesn't really have any combat pickups yet, and without the Manta, he lacks a lot of his damage output from the extra mana burning illusions. So, and PR just more ready to fight at this stage. It really feels like mYi have not fully come into their own yet as far as the draft goes.
Ritz has his Agnum Scepter now. It's not daytime, but now he can freely dish out those blasts without having to sacrifice himself in a bad position. They only get Roche down to half-life. They don't have the best Roche damage here. They make the charge onto Sunlight. They follow up with a quick Cold Embrace, but J4 caught on the bad side of the enemy territory. He's going to get shot on down. Lizard, though, he gets caught out from Ditya Rod. He's going to be chopped on down, so a one-for-one trade. Nice still, though, for PR. Look at the follow-up there. Go for Mitch. Hookshot connection from Cheshire Cat. They lead it with a Spirit Lance, who is going to get bumped back from the attempted charge out, but not going to be going anywhere. Grazine, though, helps him out with the swap back. Might be sacrificing himself. Will do so. Look at the Mana Void pop from Milan onto the high ground. He gets bumped out with the help of a blinding light. Gorad's trying to make his way. Maybe gets the Roche denied. No! Gets shot right there at the end. Up to the high ground we go with a back follow-up on the Cheshire Cat. He gets them locked into the cogs, but beautiful setup with a shackle shot from Gogi. And look at this, it's a 5-man wipe on the side of PR. Now it's mYi who are going to be stealing this Roche. Oh my god, the tides have literally turned.
What a fight. Oh, so many crazy things in that fight. So, Storm zips onto the high ground. AM blinks on top of him. He gets the ridiculously good Mana Void. I don't really think he could have gotten a better one at this stage of the game as far as like the amount of mana left, the target, the positioning of enemy heroes. Had no real setup either. They just happened to clump up around the cliff of all things, just right near the south end of it. Then the Spirit Breaker gets a bash, which pushes Clockwork up onto the high ground, and then Clockwork looks to run away, throws out the Force Staff, the Nether Strike follows him, pushes him, then he gets bashed back into position where a Shackle Shot's waiting to connect, and just one of those fights where basically like every little thing that could have possibly gone against PR did, and mYi coming out massively on top. Topsy-turvy one again, Dakota. Right away, the graph tipping directly into mYi territory. All of a sudden, AM with the completed Manta style. PL's progression halted quite a bit. We got ourselves a ball game.
J4, what are you doing there? Be careful. They scout him out. He's trying to fly, but there's nowhere to run. He has no TP. Oh, he does. And he makes it out. Okay.
That's impressive.
So, that was crazy. I can't believe he managed to finagle his way out from being that deep in enemy territory. But yeah, you're right. The itemization now going big, especially for mYi. You talked about the Manta that have been picked up. Also a Shadow Blade here on your Spirit Breaker. He's using it right now. Let's see how effective it can be. Full-fledged charge. He's trying to get a connection onto Ditya. Ditya pops his Manta. Does he go for a Doppelganger? Not quite yet. Can't get it off. Nether Strike and the fall from AM. They don't allow him to do anything. He's going to get dropped. Killing spree already for Milan. Uh-oh. Looks like mYi right back into the action here, and they're going to go for this tier 1 top lane. Also, PR, a lot of value in the medallion, it looks like. Cheshire Cat picks up one himself. You don't see very often the double medallions, but I guess with the new, you can do either a negative armor or positive armor.
Radiant's bottom tower is under
both
attack.
now? I just don't see that very often.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's really the item that you want to get 2 up here. It's a pretty, I mean, it's certainly a cost-effective item, and armor is not bad against mYi or heavy on the physical damage, but J4, oh, caught out. He does manage to get off the Cold Embrace. Still, though, taking heavy damage from the Wind Ranger with the Maelstrom, brings him down. A killing spree for Gogi. And, well, Medallion, it gives you a little bit more survivability, but ultimately when Wind Ranger commits on you with an Ags, you're still not getting out. And I do wonder if what else could Clock have gone for here. There's Blade Mail as a possibility. No BKBs out just yet. I think Ags would be great, but he isn't farming that well, so I'm not sure you can really list Ags on the menu, as it's just not a realistically comparable pickup. Not a great pipe game by any stretch.
the Lotus Orb, you know, maybe you casually throw on yourself and you end up doing a heads-on charge with Spirit Breaker and you meet in the middle of the map. I would love to see that in an actual competitive game. But it's something that Clockworks go for as a luxury item. There's a couple of single targets here. It's very easy to use, surprisingly, against a Wind Ranger. You could pretty much see a Shackle Shot coming if it's from afar. You just quickly double tap, get the Lotus Orb on yourself, and you're going to be sending that Shackle back the other way. I don't know if it's something he's tickled the idea of, but you know, we'll have to see. But props to mYi. They're dedicated. They lose those two back-to-back big fights, and they continue to
bottom tower
push on
under
forward.
attack.
They find that huge one for themselves in the Roche, and that has clearly put them right back on the map. Even now ahead in net worth, not by a whole lot, but you know, they're feeling pretty damn confident at this point. Looks like they're going to do early scout onto Roche, but obviously it just happened. But they're moving in, still with Aegis, Milan. Charging on through the secret shop. They get that ward onto the high ground here, but all of PR are actually in their own territory, so they're not going to be finding anyone. But this is their chance, because nighttime does come down. Lag's not as potent as it usually is. If they want to try to push forward and take some tier 2s, this is their chance.
All right, Ra now going to Manta and throw in some extra illusions, but he gets bashed instantly after popping all of his defensive spells. He will have a doppelganger soon. The Cog's not going to help those. Mitch just charges right on through, finds that first pick off, and now with the PL dead, PR, time to scatter. They're going to retreat out. Milan going in again. Just wants that single bash to set up the familiar stuns. Won't get the bash, and we'll have to be content with just that first PL kill, but it is a sweet, sweet frag, and they may just push down mid after that.
See, you know, at least they double back. Seeing there's a little pressure towards the top, just a couple of supports trying to keep mYi's attention elsewhere so they can't easily follow up these team fights with objectives. But your charge is going to be happening here on the Sunlight bottom lane, and then promptly canceled thereafter. And as you said, it looks like mid lane could be the next target. They look to congregate there. No defense coming out quite yet.
Dyer's middle tower is under
Hanging
attack.
over on still the right-hand side, the
Dyer's
bottom lane.
structures are fortified.
See if they look to try to maybe make a flank play. If PR want, they could just accept that they're going to be losing their towers, bank on hopefully a
Dyer's
strong
middle
high ground
tower
defense,
has
and that
fallen.
this PL can kind of stride further than where the AM wants to be. But I don't know. As this game progresses, LD, late game, do you give the nod to mYi, considering they have this Wind Ranger in addition to the AM, plus you got this Spirit Breaker who can kind of get things started, or do you think Ra's PL in conjunction with the Storm Spirit is going to be enough?
Well, I don't know if I have a clear advantage for either team. I think mYi definitely have more damage output directly, aside from the PL, but if the AM's farmed enough, he can somewhat deal with the Illusion Army, at least through a certain stage of the game. Oh man, mid lane, charge on the Sunlight, gets caught out, and now the Venge Stun follows up. Ra, however, will engage, goes on to Mitch, trying to find this kill, gets off the Purge, and now Mitch turning to smack a couple of Illusions, still pursued. The Cog's also going to isolate Grazine. Good initiation here, coming out from Cheshire Cat, and now Milan engaging. They let Mitch go, unable to finish him off as he's run out of mana. Quick blink away, Milan barely surviving. The Clockwork gets run over, and in the meantime, Storm just dealt with handily. Wind Ranger finding the openings to just skirt into the fight from the sidelines and do some serious damage.
This Spirit Breaker with his Shadow Blade has been doing some serious work. He gets the lead in on the Storm Spirit, so he can't just quickly ball lightning away the second he sees a charge coming, so he gets the lockdown factor, and as they look to follow it up, AM wants to engage. He actually decides he wants to make the committed jump onto the Winter Wyvern and catch that the support backstaff. As he does so, though, he eats a blinding light, so it becomes a bit more difficult. They decide to go for him, and because of that, this Wind Ranger gets left unattended and just is able to go off the rails with their own bits of damage. Cheshire Cat was just so close with his last dying breath to get a hook shot onto Milan before he could blink away, but the blink comes first. Clockwork goes down. Milan makes a safe escape, and it's another fight where it looks like mYi are going to be taking right over. I mean, this is easy. Well, they already got the tier 2. They can either decide to push up towards the top lane with their creep wave and take another tier 2, or they can maybe tickle this mid lane a bit more. We'll see. I'm sure Gogi's tempted. He has Focus Fire ready to go, but Goritz is going to continue to try to dish out as many blasts as possible to slow them down.
Well, he'd better pull a couple more out of his pocket, because this siege is just doing work. They push in, bring the tower down by a quarter. They still have the familiars. I think they're worried about the respawns, though. Wind Ranger a bit low on HP and mana, and not wanting to risk staying around and having a horrible fight go the other way. So they'll play it safe, be content with their winnings, and boy, do they have winnings or what. All of a sudden, a 10k gold lead, 10k experience, just complete 180 of a game, and it just shows you, I think, where mYi's lineup really has a bit of an edge is just they have more big damage dealers. You look at PR, Storm could be a big damage dealer, but he's just not farmed enough right now, and a lot of these heroes have solutions for the Storm. The Spirit Breaker is the Shadow Blade to try and get away. Wind Ranger can just probably man up and fight him for the most part. Your anti-mage certainly is going to win that battle, with especially with the Manta, and even the Visage has a Glimmer Cape. So I feel like Storm is kind of a non-factor in a lot of these fights, and then it's just the PL versus Wind Ranger who does heavy damage, AM who does heavy damage, supports that scale well later on, the Visage, the Venge, a lot of auras to work with there. So yeah, I think that's the one concern for PR is they're much more reliant on finding their good team fight now. They really need a 2-3 hero Winter's Curse, ideally a nice Cogs, and if they don't get that and quickly kill off either the AM, the Wind Ranger, or ideally both, they're not going to have an easy time taking these fights.
I couldn't agree more. Fortunately for them, it's daytime now. If they want to utilize that incentive that never undermines the huge amount of heal this Keeper of Light can do when daylight comes up. You're talking 500 points of heal, and it comes a lot quicker now with this Chakra Magic buff of reducing the cooldown. Has his gem, of course, so they are not going to permit that mYi can get any sort of aggressive vision on their territory. So they get to remain in the dark with their farm, but looks like mYi, for their behavior, they're going to also continue to farm up and just maybe wait out for the next Roche, secure that one, feeling confident with the past few team fights, and then decide to push on forward from there. So we could be looking at a very mild stalemate as they want to continue to itemize. Storm Spirit, you know, he's already feeling the pressure. He has to step away from his more offensive build and get that BKB secured, but Bruiser on the other side, Mitch, he's got one himself, so we have two fresh new 10-second BKBs on the playing field.
Milan's going to push in this top lane now, doing a bit of scouting with his illusions as he moves forward. Your Dire Courier will respawn, and a Coddle Blast, not going to hit a whole lot. Milan just walks away, doesn't even take the damage himself. No real rush here for mYi. I think they're content to wait for the Roche respawn. They definitely want to try to keep tabs on it, and they do have the AM Illusion currently parked in the pit, but as that expires, maybe a familiar moves over. You definitely don't want to give that away to PR for free, and certainly not to a hero like Storm if you can avoid it. Although, maybe they even give it to PL just because he's significantly ahead in net worth and relevance this game, but either way, Mitch is now the one walking towards the pit. Hasterin will spawn, and just waiting to see when mYi make their next move. I think they could just take the Roche very quickly. They've got a Solar Crest now, and yeah, there you go. Into the pit, Dakota. Do PR contest.
Well, they're TPing like they want to. They're going to have the easy, unobstructed vision here from the Keeper of the Light, but look how fast this Roche goes down. They're going to try to snipe it, rush in. They don't get it. They're going to get the kill. Milan's going to pick up the Aegis, and look at this. They're committing for a jump here. Milan going right for the illusions, but he actually uses it on the illusions, the Mana Void. Winter's Curse on Mitch, who dives way deep to try to follow up this damage. And now Milan even committing, going to get caught out himself. Could be in trouble, does have that Aegis, thankfully. But Cheshire Cat moving on in. He's going to get shot down from Gogi, now unstoppable. And they continue their assault on Ferdinand Raz. Soul Assumption's going to be there, and it's going to finish him off. PR can still continue not to stand against this team fight of mYi. They will now look to secure tier 2. You're going to have to really muscle through that backdoor protection. Okay, the creeps are here now. Turns it into paper, and look at this. It's time to ascend the stairs. Dityra does have a buyback on his PL, 50 seconds. Otherwise, he is going to be forced to use it if he wants to try to hold. It ain't going to be easy. Gogi already focus firing the tower is going to force out the glyph. J4, him and the Coddle trying their damnedest to slow down this push, but mYi not going to be stopped.
Well, who needs Mana Void, apparently? It's certainly not mYi. They're just going to easily clean up. It did cost them the Aegis, I think, wasting the Mana Void there. If he saves it for a hero like the Storm, they'd probably win that fight more convincingly. But nonetheless, Arak's down. They may lose Lizard on the way out. Indeed, they will. Still, a successful Roche and an objective secured. Now, Anti-Mage, completing the Abyssal Blade, continues to just pile up the big items. The graph still going heavily in favor of mYi, and now with a solid 10k gold lead, and pretty much everybody a factor. And in fact, I don't see a single hero whose counterpart is significantly out farming them. So very nicely done across the board. Team effort.
Oh, they saw Mitch. Well, they saw Arun disappear, so they figured it was probably the Spirit Breaker. They drop a sentry, they catch him with a Mana Leak, but he's still able to etch away. Just from the two supports, Mitch is fine. He's happy to just get that quick snag and walk himself out. But yeah, it's mYi's now in even a better position. Milan continues to farm up. He's got
Dire's top tower is under attack.
3k gold saved up. The response you can see, a butterfly. Going to be picked up here for Ditya. No MKB quite yet from Milan, but he certainly has the gold reserve to get one soon if necessary. So it's a nice damage tool to have here.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
It's not like there's not going to be an answer potentially in the future here for mYi.
And the butterfly is out for Ditya, as mentioned, but still AM definitely a hero that can go into an MKB. I think the late game for mYi is probably someone else buying a Vlad's eventually, and he just gets an MKB and whatever that last item would be. Butterfly maybe for him, still a good choice. But we'll see. Butterfly, Heart, both options for sure, and he'll definitely want to have one to deal with the PL. They do rely pretty heavily on their physical damage. Also something the Wind Ranger is building towards. In fact, Gogi's basically got one already as the solo mid. He's kept up nicely on this 2-position Wind Ranger who's out farming the enemy one. And now on Smoke Dakota, they're heading mid. Here we go.
That's the nice thing for this Wind Ranger is that in these fights, she seems to be on the back lines uncontested because they're so focused on this AM and this Spirit Breaker just kind of throwing themselves into the battle. You forget about the sniping attack damage of this Wind Ranger, and they're looking for Ditya. Self-limit from Lizard. Oh, they think they got that illusion, but he's able to make a safe escape. Doppelganger's out. Now mYi, step back, not very comfortable with this kind of early game. Look at this jumping. They want Gogi. Winter's Curse. They might be able to get him down here, and they will. That's a bounty going to be picked up. Look at this anti-mage jumping in, but the Cold Embrace save coming out for this Coddle. Going to keep him alive. Milan's going to be forced to retreat to the south side. On the other front, you're going to see Ditya finishing off Lizard. This is PR's first significant fight of this game since at least the past 10 to 15 minutes, and they come up with a big two-man drop, especially that extra bounty boost from the Wind Ranger. She has been out now for 50 seconds. She committed to progress on finishing out the MKB, so she doesn't have the funding. So PR are going to be able to move forward, easily secure a tier 2. Maybe they toy with the mid lane high ground push to see if they can get a potential buyback out, knowing that, you know, she doesn't have one. We'll have to see, but this is a nice boost for PR, and we suddenly have more of a Dota game once again.
PR pounding down mid. They're going to throw the whole Illusion army in here. Anti-Mage not joining them, and well, we'll finally TP home, and with that, I think PR just going to back away. Can they catch anyone on the way out, though? AM blinks forward, has the Abyssal Blade, pops it quickly. Now the charge follow-up onto Ditya. They do have a Mana Void in 8 seconds, but Cold Embrace brings Ditya back to full HP, and he's actually engaging. He wants to go in on Mitch here. Milan trying to finish him off, drops low, blinks out, no longer has Mana Void mana, and now we'll have to just retreat out in the end. Mitch BKBing, engaging back on the Sunlight, trying to just cover his own retreat. Despite the Glimmer Cape, he won't survive. Grazine next to find a frag. Another 3 heroes crushed through, and mYi may end up losing the lane of Rax now. Buyback only on the Spirit Breaker, who will use it immediately. But courtesy of the Winter Wyvern, everybody can just heal right up and get back in the action.
Put so much focus on this Ditya PL that these supports were just able to easily time out all the defense. And with it, they withstand the early onslaught. Look at Mitch, though. Connects up with Cheshire Cat. Gets a nice little bash here. Don't get that bounty. Don't get it. He got it. He's going to now hit him with the Lantern a bit. Try to slow him down. The other side, though, nice shackle, and they're going to catch the Keeper. That's your gem on the deck. Gogi kind of hit it a freebie with that one. I guess the Coddle thinking he can kind of show up to help out his Clockwork buddy, but gets caught in the wrong side of the enemy woods. So nice little freebie right there. PR lose their gem, but they're still in pretty good standing. This game is pretty much back to square even with the couple of recent skirmishes that PR were able to win.
Well, this butterfly is going to quickly become defunct, Dakota. At least if Milan goes into MKB. He's got the gold for it now, and Windranger already picked hers up, so mYi going for a hefty dose of physical damage, and we should keep in mind, this is with a Venge on their team, a highly leveled Venge as well. Level 14 has the max aura, the max wave of terror. It's going to be tough for PR to just trade right clicks, and that's where, again, Winter's Curse is always the savior. One of the big reasons why we see this hero is just brings so much if you find a good one. That said, they haven't really been able to find an excellent Winter's Curse yet this game, I feel. There was the one in the river, I guess near the Roche, where they got 2 heroes, and still it wasn't like that 5-hero takedown or anything along those lines.
They get the connection on Ditya Raw, and they also catch out Cheshire Cat looking to intercept. He gets saved with the cold embrace. Ditya Raw still alive for now and duking it out. They're making their move onto J4, trying to finish off the support Dragon, but he gets a Glimmer Cape and makes it to the high ground to safety. And they do bring down Cheshire Cat in exchange for the Spirit Breaker. Gogi now is going to be forced to retreat, very low on mana. Ditya locked in place. He just Soul Assumption. Doppelganger makes it to safety of the high ground and will retreat back to base to heal on up. But not so lucky is going to be your poor little old man Cocker. So he's going to get dropped. Ends up being a 2-for-1 trade. mYi happy with this. They're going to see if they can kind of continue to add this pressure, but it's going to take a lot of extra time. The creep wave is quite a far ways back. Their mid lane is pushed in pretty far. It's plenty of time for Ditya Raw to heal up. This Clockwork should be back in time, and, well, if absolutely necessary, Coddle even has a buyback. So it's a good fight for mYi, but they're not going to be able to follow up with any sort of assertive objective.
Well, Roshan has could potentially be respawning soon. Actually, no, it's going to be a long timer, so fortunate, I guess, for PR that they'll all be up for this one, but they're starting to get into the danger zone, Dakota. If they lose one more fight and then mYi gets Roche, I think your chances of holding for PR are fairly low. They're going to need to expend buybacks, and who's actually got them right now? PL and Coddle, but no Storm buyback. To me, probably the most important one on the team to have it for.
Looks like he wanted to commit for a Sheepstick, which just completes now, so it feels like PR are making more that the next team fight they take, they want to win, or they want to get this Roche for themselves. If not, they damn near need to prioritize some serious farm onto Sunlight so he can have that buyback available. Now he's still on watch. It's a long timer for Roche, however, so they're going to be waiting quite a bit, but this is where things get very tense. As you can tell by the body language of mYi, they're going to be smoking up potentially. Do they have one on hand? No. So they're inching that way. We're going to see a lot of timidness from both sides. Curious to see which team is going to break through first, because as you said, if mYi are able to secure this Roche and Aegis, it makes it a lot easier for them to break through what could have been a tough high ground defense from PR. PR are able to grab this Aegis, then, I mean, I guess you could just say about the same for them. They'll be able to charge to the other side, and there might not be a whole lot mYi can do to respond.
Now an invis for Gogi down in the river. He'll walk on towards mid. And thinks better of it, up the ramp instead. There is no detection here on the Dire side. Then now Gory's caught off the bat. BKB from Gogi goes right in on the entire enemy team. J4 just self-embracing. Not really what he was hoping to achieve with that one. And now, well, he manages to get off the curse, try to turn mYi against each other. Can't manage to find any kills, though. They'll lose a third. The Storm jumps in, and just as quickly as he does, he's down for the count. Cheshire Cat next. It's a team wipe as Ditya Raw actually somehow died in the middle of that chaos, immediately bought back, and good luck contesting Roche now, PR. I'm not sure how they're going to do that.
That was all one invis rune from Gogi. I can't believe it. He moved in, and I thought he was just going to get some intel and they could set something up. It's like he just knew within a drop of a hat what needed to be done. He just shackled the Coddle, killed him immediately, and then they just went to work. It was like PR just literally got caught with their pants down, and they didn't know what to do. Losing their Coddle, they lose a lot of the sustain, that blinding light, that tremendous amount of brute force from the back lines, and they couldn't do anything about it. And now the Rax just crumbling apart. They have no way to stop this. A swap back onto Ditya Raw with a charge follow-up. That is going to be game, just like that. Oh, boy.
mYi. Just a couple bad fights for PR, and it really felt like that's all it came down to more than anything. Neither draft, like, overwhelmingly superior. Execution was pretty good through the laning stage in the mid-game, Dakota, but you just get to some of those late mid-game, early late-game team fights, and mYi just ran them over. I think they just had an easier team fight to execute at that stage. If Wind Ranger finds